We go live at this moment to Caracas, Venezuela, where the President Nicolás Maduro is assisting to the ALBA TCP encounter in Caracas. The event, this is the second day of the event, where the left movements are, from all parts of the world are gathered in Caracas, Venezuela, to build a united path to confront imperialism and seek to prolong the imperialism that seeks to prolong its domination and permanence in the world. At this moment, the Secretary of ALBA, Jorge Arreaza, is speaking to the audiences gathered in Caracas, Venezuela during this meeting that is taking place and is assisted by several political leaders of the region, of Latin American region and the world.
60 different countries, including, and of course, our Latin America and the Caribbean. We've been receiving light and finding ourselves in a moment so intense and strong for the entire world, where we're watching live genocide, and where we're watching live how wars are being developed and our differences are being threatened. Only the people, our nations, are going to be able to stop the imperialism in his decline phase. We've been talking about the hyper-imperialism concept. So this phase of imperialism that is superior to the even superior phase that was announced by us. And in this stage, when the power cannot be sustained anymore because the dollar is stumbling and its capacities are stumbling, so it's appealing to the strength and to the dehumanization of the matter, and it's like a wounded animal that is putting its claws in the air. So women discussing this document, social alternative for the worldwide, that this social body of the people is pretended to be a weapon of destruction of the bad habits, a weapon to promote goodwill in the world that allowed us not only be mobilized by justice, but also to act in consequences in our territories, in our nations, in our regions, and worldwide. 60 countries are here, 300 international guests. It's really short and small, the space. We are regretting that not everyone could be let in, but we want to congratulate you because you lead from here, from the ALBA, the process, the definite process for the future of the humankind. Thank you very much to be here. President Mel Zelaya and President Evo Morales, welcome. Words of the citizen Nicolás Maduro Moros, President of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. Good afternoon, comrades,
my brothers. English is sister, no? My sister. Welcome. Bienvenidos.
Welcome,
Queridos
dear
hermanos,
brothers and sisters,
a Caracas,
to Caracas in this special date, a rebel day in America,
Hace exactamente
Exactly
214 años,
214 years ago,
19 de abril 1810,
April 19 of 1910,
en la Plaza Mayor,
in the Mayor Square, today Bolivar
allí
Square,
están los lugares,
the places are
allí
still
están los
there.
edificios de
The
la época,
buildings from that time are still there,
donde
where
el pueblo
the people
dio el primer paso como protagonista
took
de
the
lo que
first step
ha sido
as
esta
the
historia
main character of
hermosa y
this
heroica
history,
de lucha
this
por la
beautiful
libertad,
and historical
por la independencia, por la
movement
soberanía,
seeking
por
the
la igualdad,
independency and freedom
contra el
and
colonialismo
sovereignty
en
against the
toda su forma,
colonialism and all of its
porque fue aquí
shapes.
en Caracas,
Because it was here in
en esa
Caracas,
fecha,
in this
que
date,
los zambos,
that the
los mestizos,
Sambos, the
los
mixed
blancos
races
criollos pobres,
people, the
los
Creoles,
negros,
the poor Creoles, the
en una
black
sola
people,
voz,
in only
como
one voice
milicianos
got
del
together
pueblo, le dijeron al capitán general
and say to the
de
generals,
la corona
Captain,
española,
from the Spanish
ya
crown,
basta,
stop.
fuera
It
de
is enough.
Venezuela,
Out of Venezuela.
y se inició un
And
camino
it was the beginning
un
of a
camino
path that it will
maravilloso.
be an
Pudiéramos decir
amazing
que fue el primer
path.
grito
We could say that that was
de
the
una
first
nueva
scream
época.
of a new era.
Ya los pueblos del sur de
The
América,
countries of the
ya los
south
pueblos
already,
del Centroamérica, de
the countries
México,
of Central
también
America
habían
and
clamado.
Mexico, they
Ya
have been already
Tupac Katari
clapping.
se había encargado en
Tupac
su
Katari
época
was
de levantar
in his
la voz,
time
la bandera,
already raising his
la
voice,
huipala,
the flag,
pero fue precisamente
but it
en
was
esta etapa,
precisely in this
19 de
stage
abril
on April 19th of 1910 that the scream of Caracas reached the bell of what it would be the war against the colonialism
que
from
permitió la
Spain
independencia política.
and will allow the political independency in that time.
Hoy estamos nosotros
Today we are
conmemorando
tributing and commemorating 214 years from that scream, and the people is the same. The scream, it is the same.
la batalla
The battle is the same. And the victory today, it belongs to us because that people that been in slavery is now in the political power here in the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. I want to thank to you've been saying to the General Secretary, Vice President of the Republic, ex-Chancellor, General Secretary of the ALBA organization, Bolivarian Alliance for the countries of our America, the organization of the ALBA states, Secretary General of the Bolivarian Alliance of our America people, Jorge Reaza. Against the OEA, it exists the ALBA, the Truth Alternative, the Truth Alliance for the freedom. You've been saying, comrades, from 60 countries that are present. Is that correct? How many delegates are? Almost 300 delegates from all worldwide. Welcome to Venezuela always. Brothers and sisters, you can feel this as your own homeland, your own sky. And also to the delegates from the movements and social forces in Latin America and the Caribbean. And from Venezuela, welcome. They're telling me that there are several spokesmen, and I want to greet all of you that are here. I want to excuse myself if I'm missing someone, but it is really It gets me really emotional to see you, all of you, reunited. I want to greet in the first place to the Evo Morales Aima from plurinational state of Bolivia, from the native movements. Welcome, comrade. Likewise, I want to greet in a special way to a great friend that gave me some headaches for a while, President Mel Zelaya, son of Francisco Morazan from Honduras, almost ended up with my life, passing through the borders of Nicaragua and Honduras. There were some snipers I was going to Managua to get some message from Commander Hugo Chavez to the President Mel, and he was in a press conference in the headquarters of the embassy in Honduras, and I was there, and then I said, we need to talk, and he said, wait. The press conference ended up, and he called me, Nicolas, come with me, and I was there then in a jeep that he still has, and I was there as a co-pilot, and I said, tell me, no, Commander Chavez, he's trying to say this and that, and he was driving, but I was seeing that we were getting further from Managua, and then I asked, where are we going? And he said, we're going to Honduras. We're going to Honduras, he said. And I said, well, let's go there. I've never tell that story in public before. And we went to the border of Honduras. He was driving, and we could see the line, the crossing line. And Commander Chavez called, and I passed the phone. Those Motorola telephones, silver, that it could be opened by half, and he spoke with Commander Chavez, and I was only speaking Mel's voice, saying, yes, President, of course, we're here in the border, we're getting through, of course. And after that, I knew what it was being told to it. Careful, Mel, be careful. Nicolás is with you. Be careful, don't do that. Get me, Nicolás, Chavez said. And then he lent me the phone and said, Nicolás, don't even think about. Try to convince Mel. It can be really dangerous, that situation. But convince Mel, it was too dangerous. It was easier to save my life. In that moment, I received a call from Rosario Murillo, and I'm greeting her from here to Daniel Saavedra and Rosario Murillo. And she said, Nicolás, where are you? And I said, here in the jeep with Zelaya. And she said, be careful because there's some sniper. And an officer from the Nicaragua police came and said, be careful and cover us. And it showed us that the dictatorship of Micheletti. Do you remember Micheletti? Irving, the unwise man, the unwise from Honduras. Goriletti was the nickname given by Chavez. What is from that history? It was abandoned after the coup d'etat, Evo. The dictatorship put dictatorships and then go out. And then we were covered, and we went kneel until some space and opened the door, and we got in. And the police chief was saying that 16 snipers were planted, and I was probably going to be a target. That was going to be good news. Not all for them, for us was bad, and for myself it was even worse because, well, you don't know if the other life is going to be better, and some people say that, but that, let's not get into that now. And then suddenly I turn back and I see a human body turning back on me, walking with big steps to the borders. And who was Mel Zelaya? He was walking into the barrier. It was a barrier put on, and he break the barrier and he keep on walking. The officers were trying to stop him and trying not to let him into Honduras, because next to the other side of the barrier there were thousands of countrymen, women, waiting for him to take back the power straight to Tegucigalpa. So my experience with Zelaya was really dangerous. My life was put in danger several times. But welcome, Zelaya. This is your homeland. Greetings to the brave President Xiomara Castro, President of Latin America and the Caribbean. I also want to greet our big friend, big revolutionary, one of the social fighters with more strength of the South American country, Joe Pedro Estedile, comrade from the Sin Tierra movement, born in Vermela. Likewise, I want to greet the comrade that is arriving from Cuba, from Havana, Cuba, free territory of America, from the Memorial Center of Martin Luther King, Janice Kalu, welcome. I want to greet also to the Foreign Affairs Minister of Venezuela, Ivan Hill, the leader of the Venezuelan youth, director of the youth mission. Today is 19th. Tomorrow, 20th, it will be 4 months that we achieved to rescue the healthy and the freedom of Alex Saab Mora, that is free today. From his wife and human rights defender, Camila Fabri. Also hearing of the big homeland. Also here present, beloved comrade, president from the Communist Party of Venezuela, El Gallo Henry Parra. Another rooster is singing. Likewise, are found here the minister, the assessor of the Ministry of the Foreign Affairs Ministry of Venezuela, ex-Foreign Affairs Ministry of Ecuador, from the Intellectual Network, Atilio Moro, President of the Casa de las Américas, Abel Prieto, from Spain, arriving the intellectual writer and professor Juan Carlos Monedero. Welcome. From India, from the Institute, the Tricontinental Institute behind Prasad. Also, the Vice Minister, Exterior Vice Ministry of Honduras, Mexican Deputy, from Tunis, from the Human Rights Tunisian League, from Puerto Rico, free and independent, from the Central Committee of the Glorious Communist Party of Cuba, Jorge Luis. From Ecuador also, Secretary of the International Progressive, Maria Luisa Ortega. Long life to Ecuador and Manuel Azares. Long life to Bolivar. Long life to Sucre. Likewise, from Africa, my sister and our mother Africa, from the socialist movement of Africa. You can see yourself. We were remembering in these days around from the OAS General Secretary Arriaza. We were remembering the brutal and criminal assault of the Mexican embassy at Ecuador and other brutal assaults. One of those, it was on April 12, 2012, at the Cuban embassy in the middle of the coup d'etat. In Uruguay also, the assault to Venezuela embassy in 1976 to kidnap to Elena Quintero, ambassador of Mexico. But another one that we cannot forget was the assault to the Venezuelan embassy by the FBI and the police forces, where was arrested and jailed and beaten to the United States citizens that were trying to defend the embassy in a very tension moment. And I want to create one of those people that were trying to protect the embassy, Adrian Pin, comrade. Thank you for your bravery. There is a lot of good people and brave people in the United States that are going to make the history towards the future. You can be sure of that. This world is going to change, and the people of the United States is going to be one of the main characters of the change that are coming for the world in the years to come. Likewise, from the International Assembly of the Mexican government, Stefan Brito, greetings. From the Tecoya party and from the comrade Catholic father, but also father of Evo Morales, Fernando Lugo. You have to recognize your Bolivian son. Evo will always ask for his blessing, and Fernando will give it to him. Greetings to Paraguay, to Fernando Lugo, and blessings for his recovery. Is here Sixto Pereira from the glorious Communist Party of Spain, Marta Martin, that faced the Franquism and brought the democracy to Spain. From Ecuador, Irene León, from the Intellectual and Artist Network. I saw you in an interview these days in teleSUR. Really good. Likewise, from the United States of America, from the Nobel Manolo de los Santos, Manolete. Well, likewise, and I want to greet in a very special way the ambassadors that have been accredited in front of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, the ambassador of Cuba, Dagoberto Rodriguez, an ambassador of Bolivia, ambassador of Mexico, Ambassador of Honduras, Ambassador of Nicaragua, Ambassador of our sister Haiti, our older sister. Free Haiti. Sooner than later we will achieve the freedom and the serenity, and we'll build again the Free Republic of Haiti. We'll do that sooner than later. You can write this down. The Ambassador of Saint Vincent and the Grenadines, Ambassador from Palestine, dear homeland, long life free Palestina, the homeland of the baby Jesus. Because the baby Jesus was born in Palestine. Where is Belen? In Palestine. In Palestine. Where Jesus of Nazareth died, already being the Jesus Christ, in a hill in Palestine. Boy, man, Son of God, our Lord Jesus Christ, in Palestine. So the struggle for Palestine is a fight for justice and the truth of our Lord Jesus Christ. Always amen. Ambassador of the Republic, Arab Republic of Sahrawi. I'm going to be the moderator now, the host. I've been asked. First of all, we need to give a strong applause to these young ladies. I've been so surprised these days and finding a group of women, but a lot of women groups, playing our Afro-Venezuelan music, the Afro-Venezuelan drum that is waking up the battle energy. Let's hear the beat of the drums. Applause. You are 11 women, and I'm so impressed. Where are you from? Curiepe. A great friend of mine was from there. You are from Curiepe. My mom was winner from the National Award of Culture. Of course, Curiepe sounds like Africa. They were coming, our brothers from Africa, from the Congo, to Venezuela. A lot of people came from Congo. Unlike Brazil and Cuba, they came from Nigeria and brought the drums and the religion with is Yoruba. They come in from Congo and their drums, and those drums are alive than never, and they're joining our battles for freedom and against imperialism. Well, who's coming first, General Secretary? Let's go then to the stand for reflections of this encounter to move to alternative or social world in this time. The comrade Joao Pedro Cedile, welcome. Comrade President Maduro, our comrade Janiska from the Cuban people. I was assigned to join you here. What I've been doing in these work days, President, I want to congratulate to the great team of Arriaza and his secretary, and also to the team from the Simón Bolívar Institute that are being working and have created the conditions for us to be here today. And we could only have done this here in the Caracas, the resistance Caracas. President, if the eager to without the eager to make a whole statement, because that would be impossible, I want to share with you some some agreements that we've been the past days. First of all, we have noticed, as in a lot of analysis that are circulating around, that the capitalism is in a structural crisis, a grave structural crisis. And that crisis is not because of the capitalism stop getting money. No, they keep on making the same money, but not like around only 500 companies dominate the whole world. But that's not a progressive productive system because it's not solving the main issues of the population, and that's the contradiction. And the capitalism, when it's getting into the crisis, and we have been evaluating that, they are in a very offensive position. So historically, adopt the tactic of impulse wars to generate markets for the arm industry, and for the other hand try to get all the nature's goods and all the global south as a way to accumulate wealthy in a faster way. But the outcome of that aggression of the nature's goods is that they have unbalanced the life in our planet, and the climate change are here. The people are dying from rains. In a powerful Europe, they're dying from heat waves, and a lot of life beings are disappearing. So the planet Earth is at risk for the offensive of the capitalism. So in social terms, we've been evaluating that true barbarism is in course. They're not worried anymore by the life of people. So it's the same for them. And we're being witnessing in Haiti and in Gaza are genocides because of the action of the capital, which is only to sell weapons. In an ideological point of view, President Maduro, we have been witnessing that the capitalism is in crisis, without doubt, and is trying to get into the fascism as a way to maintain with their ideological campaign and deceive to the poor. So everyone, there's a movement of the far right that is being funded by the capital, which is the biggest one is Musky, that he even was the sponsor of the coup d'etat against Evo. So this is the situation with the capital right now. We evaluated that it's a system in decadency. The Western civilization has nothing to offer the people. And imperialism from the United States started his decadency, and we're waiting for BRICS and ALBA soon that we can put the dollar underground and bury it, because the dollar is the main weapon, not the record. The main weapon to exploit people is. So we need to fight against the dollar, and we wish the BRICS can to build a new currency, international currency. But comrades, we cannot only speak in a bad way from our enemy. It's also our obligation to understand how it works. So we're taking this opportunity too, in this occasion, all of us committed to the people, one of us, younger, older, But we're taking the opportunity also to do criticism upon ourselves, because from this side we also have issues, because why we cannot hit stronger the capitalism crisis, because we need the popular mobilization, we need the struggle from the people. There is a process also from the mass movement that is getting declined in the whole world, even when there is struggle and resistance, but there's no like a massive movement, there is no program against capitalism. And from there, then if we know that the way of fighting is not only waiting, because the capital doesn't have a hospital, we have to be organized to win, and to win them, our organization has its task from home. We need to keep back the work from the base, as we say, that the same comrade Chavez was saying. We have to go house from house to convince the people that the capitalism isn't worth it. We need to struggle in ideology for every single mean, from social networks, from communication network and television. Go. And we have the task, as I said here, to build a program in common, to be anti-capitalism. And way President Maduro, let's go all home very satisfied, because we have moved forward in unity, most of all, in the conception of how to face imperialism and how to win. But upon our task, now the Camara Janiska is going to explain what we have to do. What do we have to do? Thank you very much.
Muito obrigado, João Pedro. Você está muy lúcido. Você tiene la cabeza bien puesta. ¿Ah? Muito lúcido. De verdad que las dos grandes líneas que he lanzado.
It's the two big lines that this man has just launched on us. Is really in line for the struggles that we are facing. The revolutionary movement that we are in power, we need to maintain the mass mobilizations in a permanent basis. It's one of the keys of the Bolivarian revolution. Active people, mobilized people in any circumstances. It's the only way to maintain the people. It's like an athlete, a boxer that is preparing for the World Championship and is going to fight with George Foreman. Any of you knows who is George Foreman? You can look into YouTube, right? And then we won't fight. Just be there in their house, at the beach, like Evo that likes the beach. When he's going into the fighting ring, is not prepared. The only way to be prepared for those fights is to have the people in a conscious way, with information, and mobilize with his main muscle in the time, in a jack, in the time, in the precise time, where us that we are in the power, political power, and in the popular resistance even more, because there is a very true line to retake the popular movement of mass movement in the struggles now against neoliberalism and against fascism that is rising as an alternative. Vox in Spain, Milei in Argentina, Bolsonaro in Brazil, etc. Netanyahu in Israel, the fascism, the horrific face of the image of Hitler it can be seen in Netanyahu's face. It's a war criminal, a murderer from people. And it's not a coincidence, comrade. You, the scholarships, the intellectual network, and artists for peace of the humankind. It's not a coincidence that behind of a Bolsonaro, behind of a Milei, is also the Zionism put on the social networks to win them elections, to investing in there. And then after they got into power, they lean over in the face of the interest of the Zionism. I've been denouncing that. We have been denouncing that, but it seems like it cannot be heard. The Zionism is behind of the far right. Here in Venezuela are behind from the last name, from the Machado, from Capriles. All of them were out to make an applause for the genocides against the Palestinian people. They all celebrate the assault of the consulate of Iran in Damascus. All of them were celebrating that. They're under the Zionism hands. Is it a coincidence? No, it is a lie. The imperialism has a vanguard, and also the Zionism controls all the social networks. Someone is doubting that? We have evidence, like the Liberator will say, unbreakable proof as like how the Zionism can control all the social networks. The struggle and the fighting in the social network, we have to do it, but those are from them, and they can do whatever they please with that. In every single country, the candidates are being picked in the far right, and they're washing their face and making them normal and cleaner, and they're introducing them as leader. The Milei phenomenon, I call that, where Milei grew up. A leadership crisis, an alternative crisis, where Milei grew up. In the social network, it is a strategy, a powerful strategy, where Bolsonaro did grow from nothing, 4 points in the polls that he was having, and it was a despicable character, but it was raised. The Zionism is the tip of the spear of the fascism in the world in general, and it's getting to Latin America. Alert. What I can tell to you is that in Venezuela, they're not going in. Our people will triumph against the fascism, the Zionism, facing the oligarchy and the last name, or whatever their names are. So as I was saying, Pedro, we have Janiska Lugo from Havana. Janiska, why are you called like that? It comes from a countryside man poetry. It was a poetry from a little girl that it was lost in the hospital. I still have issues in the orientation in space. It's a birth trauma. But it's a poetry from a countryside man. Janiska is a character of the poetry? Yes, of course. It's the history that this girl was lost when she was born. Welcome, Janiska. Thank you very much, President. The truth is that we have a lot of things to be grateful for. I want to be grateful for this encounter because this has been as an inspiration for the revolution that we need to fulfill and complete. I want to thank the brother Jorge Raza and Carlos from that I've been doing the task of dialogue possible and here in Caracas, definitive days for the region. It's been an encounter of inspiration and compromise with something that Jorge insisted on a lot, and is the spirit of Alba. I've been thinking a lot in Chavez these days. How many times Chavez and Fidel have been here among us to watch us continue building the project of Alba, the project from the people, the project of rebellion, that we are here together, Latin America and Caribbean people and worldwide people. I want to thank very much to the all representatives from worldwide, from Africa and Europe that are here today. It's been an encounter, inspiration, and compromise with the Bolivarian Revolution to take and consciousness of our tasks ahead. Because as Pedro was saying, we have a consensus of diagnosis. We have a common idea of the issues. And also we've been criticizing ourselves a lot, but how can we moving forward in unity in this point? And that's why I want to bring you a reflection, very important reflection these days, how to strengthen the space of the social space that ALBA is bringing into a permanent dialogue and continuous dialogue with the popular movement of the region to go deep in this emancipation movement that is ALBA in the spirit of the freedom and insurgents spirit that we've been working. It's been an encounter when we've been denouncing the blockade towards Cuba. Really, all comrades have been really strong against the blockade, a solidarity that Cuba has always thanked, but we always been denouncing the genocide against Palestine. We've been putting in the center the solidarity with Haiti and also with the Bolivarian Revolution, and we have a lot of things to do still in all these compromises that we have as a people. We have a debt with the Haitian people, and we need to keep working to get off that debt with Haiti and to be in the point where being asked for of us. 2 days ago, we were reunited, the movement of the ALBA, and all in that meeting, it was made balance of the situation, the ideology situation, the regional, the political census are trying to be kidnapped. And we've been discussing in the movement of ALBA as we've been discussing the integration scenario. It was really good to recognize the improvement that we have been doing. We have around 20 processes, different processes that schools are building unity and political information, because we cannot do anything without political information. With all the society, we need to articulate the communication not only as a media communication but also as a strategy, our strategy. We will not be able to conquer this battle not only in the social network. We have to go house to house, person to person. We have to be in the street with the people to tell the project, to listen to people. And that our revolution has a lot of experiences. We've been discussing the necessity of go deeper into solidarity, but also to promote interchange of experience and technology, of experiences that we have in our people to go strong in this moment. I really think that there have been constructive days of thinking the value that has today, the hope for us. We cannot go under the pessimist. We cannot believe that we are not possible to conquer. Also, like in 1910, like Hiron, we have conquered many times the Latin American people, and we will continue conquering. In that spirit, we came together because the united people can never be conquered. As in this subject, we have a reflection. We have a thought. We were speaking about that in the Guayana exhibit when you were in your visit to the Venezuelan South. 42 degrees Celsius in the shade. In Venezuela, we have checked, and in Cuba also, we have 4 or even 5 degrees more of temperature since last October. And it's not given in. The climate change is a climate emergency already. what Fidel said.
Su profecía del 92.
His prophecy in 1992 is being fulfilled now. We're seeing it. It will be a time.
Presidente Gustavo Petro.
I spoke with Gustavo Petro last week.
Siempre nos reunimos.
Always got together and we spoke around 3 hours and we dedicate almost an hour to speak about the climate emergency.
De las tareas de mitigación.
From the mitigation task,
Petro creo
President Petro, I believe, that is one of the brightest minds that are in the world about the climate change. And I'd say this with no doubt. And I say myself, President Petro,
está de cumpleaños. Vamos a darle un aplauso al presidente
today is
Gustavo
his
Petro.
birthday to President Gustavo Petro. Today is his birthday on April 19. Founder of M19 is having his birthday today. With Colombia, they will not break us. They will not split us. They can do whatever they please. The North Imperious, we have a common destination, the union and the cooperation and the joint development of this immense region that was led by the Bolivar sword. We have a common father, which is Simon Bolivar, our founding father. It is a lot to say because it's beautiful to say it. We have the same flag, the yellow, blue, and red flag. That was representing the liberator army from Bolivar and Sucre. That flag went to Pichincha and it got to Ayacucho, it got to Junin, and went to the High Peru to found Bolivia. That flag, that tricolor flag, it is the same from Venezuela and Colombia. Who designed that? Who created? Francisco Miranda. He brought it where it was made, the flag of freedom of Venezuela. Do you know that? In Haiti it was made. It was designed in Haiti and it was raised for the first time in history, the tricolor flag. Francisco Miranda created that flag, and then Bolivar took it. And the word Colombia, where it comes from? From the project of Colombia. Francisco de Miranda and Bolivar took it, and they founded and made it true. He thought in a great republic that was going to be Republic of Colombia, the South America Republic United. And where Bolivar founded Colombia? In the Orinoco, in the south of Venezuela. December 17th of 1819, Supreme Creed of the Constitutive Assembly founding Colombia was integrating the territories of what is Venezuela today, Panama, and Ecuador. And then Bolivar made a confederation with Peru also, because he went to Peru as a request from the same Peru, and he came with his army, and 200 years ago it was Dutch. 200 years from the big victory of the Battle of Junin, and in December we'll be celebrating 200 years of the victory of Ayacucho, where the South Army reunited one to fight the armies that were coming from Argentina and Chile, the armies that are coming from Venezuela and Colombia. Only one army. Officials from Honduras, Nicaragua, Cuba, Puerto Rico, they were there. The army, the United Army of our America, the most beautiful and complete that was never have been seen in history, that got its triumph in Junin, in Ayacucho. And what was the flag? The yellow, the blue, and the red. Today is the flag, beautiful flag of Venezuela, Colombia, and Ecuador. It is a beautiful gesture. We are being united by beautiful things that goes beyond the material, from the spirit, from the dream that we share, and we can feel the heart beating faster when we see that tricolor flag, and you can feel the Colombian from Medellin, of Cucuta or Bogota, but the Venezuelan from Camaná and from Maracaibo can feel that as well. So we've been speaking about this subject of the climate change, and I've seen well reflected in the document that they've been working on. It's well reflected. This document is worth everything, because here is someone precisely what being told by João Pedro as one of our wise men. A wise man council must be created, presided by João Pedro. Are you agree? The wise man council of the social movement, President João Pedro. Raise your hand if you agreed on. It's been approved in the assembly. This document is out of its league because it makes a characterization and it puts the new policy of the new times. I've spoke a lot this with Raúl Castro. Let's give a strong applause to Raúl Castro in Havana. Revolutionary leader, Raúl. I've been speaking that with Díaz-Canel as well, with Marrero, and with all the comrades from the Cuban Revolution. We are in a new era of transition. We are getting in a fast pace to the new development era, and we have to be on the vanguard of the new era. If we continue with the old speeches, with the old dialects, with the old ways of making politics, we're going to be buried on, and we'll be get into dust to all of us. And as the liberator will say, there will come, and we will not let for posterity only imperialism centuries and now fascism outcomes. That will not happen because we are in the tune that we have to be. And I do believe that this document that translated and explained and studied will allow us to make an update in a wide matter, the political agenda and the political program and political ideology, and will set us into the vanguard. An alternative, a social alternative for worldwide, to build a new social alternative for this new transition stage. And from Venezuela we say new transition to the socialism, a new civilization, the civilization of love, of solidarity, from equality, from life. A new civilization from love, of equality and solidarity and life. Without empires, without colonialism, without fascism, without neoliberalism, without imperialism. A new society that can build themselves again and again. There's another alternative to build a multipolar world that is already here. We need to understand that if you haven't done that, you need to wake up because the multipolar world has already born. Someone already noticed that, and is João Pedro. The multipolar world is already here. The imperialism knows that multipolar world is already born, and the final countdown from the imperialism and from the collective imperialism of the West, collective imperialism of the West already has a countdown, and the humankind that is coming is going to be way better. We hope to reverse the climate change. I am trusting, I'm a believer, and you know that. I respect other ideologies, and you don't believe in God, even when I'm aware that you sign and you light candles over there, hiding.
prenderlas a algún santo, pero en su
All
casa
of
y
you
escondido.
light
En el nombre del
candles
Padre,
to
del Hijo y del
saints,
Espíritu Santo. Amén.
but in your
Yo sé que es
houses
así.
hidden. I know that is like that.
Yo me dejé de eso, yo lo asumo de frente.
I
Yo creo en Dios,
I
Padre
believe in
Todopoderoso,
God,
Creador del cielo y
Father,
de la tierra,
Almighty Creator of the earth
y en
and
su
the
Hijo,
sky,
nuestro Señor
and
Jesús de
also
Nazaret.
in His
Creo,
Son, our
creo en las fuerzas
Lord of
espirituales
Jesus from Nazareth.
de
I believe in the
Centroamérica, de
spiritual
África,
forces
del Asia. Son
from
fuerzas
America,
espirituales
from
poderosas,
Asia,
muy
from Africa.
poderosas.
They're very
Es el
strong
poder de Dios.
spiritual forces. It's the
Es una
God's
batalla
power.
espiritual
It's a spiritual
entre
battle
el bien y el mal.
between the good
Existe.
and the evil, and it
Ellos son el mal.
exists.
Nosotros
Those are
somos
the
el
evil,
bien.
we are the
Y
good,
nosotros
and
venceremos
we will
con toda la fuerza
conquer
espiritual,
with all the
moral,
spiritual
política,
strength and
física,
political
material.
strength and physical strength.
Y yo tengo fe, digo esto,
And I have faith.
Camila, Génesis, Rander, Carlos, Iván. Digo esto porque
I say in this because
confío que
I trust
el
that
desarrollo científico,
the big
tecnológico,
scientific development will allow us to
calentamiento global,
get free the planet Earth from the global warming and the destruction that is in,
que las medidas de mitigación
and the measures to mitigate and to prevent.
en un momento dado
In a specific point, we could get unite a healing wounds
creo en eso.
that the imperialism had created on planet Earth for years, and I have hope in that. In this new era, it's a concept that I'm adding now,
General nuestro,
plus General Secretary, that
digamos,
here, this is a man that say that is a handsome man,
buen físico.
at a good look.
Uno mira la cara de Almagro y es un esperpento humano. Almagro físicamente es un esperpento.
If we see the face of Almagro, it's a very ugly.
Horrible. La cara es como el alma.
It's like the face is like the soul, so it's rotten. Almagro. Have you seen the picture of Almagro? I know him,
Y lo advertí, Patiño,
and I warned that Patiño.
como canciller lo advertí,
As a
como
foreign
presidente
minister,
lo advertí,
I warned it,
Patiño.
and as a president, I
Patiño
warned
era
that
el canciller
Patiño was
de
a
Ecuador y se lo dije
Ecuadorian foreign affairs
porque Almagro lo captó la CIA
because Almagro was
cuando era
captured
canciller
by
de Pepe
the
Mujica,
CIA when he was the chancellor from Pepe Mujica.
vinculada a los gringos.
It was a network that was linked from to the United
Lo captó.
States.
Nosotros lo supimos todo.
We knew it all because we had the way to know.
Luchó Evo para que
And
Venezuela no
he
ingresara a
fought
Mercosur, pero lo venció.
for Venezuela not to enter to Mercosur, but we conquered, we had the victory because we have the decisive support from the governments at the time, and we know
Lamentablemente
who
lo
it
colocamos
was,
allá,
and sadly we put it there.
pero no hay mal que por bien no venga,
But there is no
porque él se encargó de ser
bad that can bring
el
only bad,
sepulturero
because
de la OEA.
right
Y la
now
OEA
he
hoy
is
está-
the
hoy está
grave digger of the OAS. Right now, the OAS is a dead body that is buried and is rotten. Thanks to Almagro, thanks to the ugly man for burying the OAS.
Por eso tenemos que sentirnos orgullosos.
So we need to be proud to have a general secretary that is so handsome.
Se pone rojo, ¿vale?
It's turning red.
Dejen el chalequeo, así decimos en Caracas. Dejen el chalequeo. Y como Yanesca habla,
And like
de
Janeska's
nuestro
speaking,
gigante. Y yo sé, Evo,
where are our giants? And I know Evo and Salaya,
dos hermanos del
two
alma,
brothers
de Chávez.
of soul from our commander Chavez. And now I want to invite Chavez
Y a Fidel,
and Fidel
que se hagan presentes. Vamos a
to
ver
be
este video.
present here. Let's see this video. We have it.
Adelante, video.
We have it ready.
Una importante especie biológica
An
está
important
en riesgo de
biological
desaparecer
species
por la
that
rápida y
is
progresiva liquidación
in danger
de
of
sus
disappear
condiciones
with the
naturales de
fast
vida, el hombre.
disappearance of its life condition. The men, the societies are the main responsible of the climate destruction. The old colonial metropolis and politics that gave birth to poverty that is fighting with the humankind. We exhorted to the governments and the peoples of the earth that if the destructive nature of the capitalism is opposing, we have to make it obey. We cannot wait from cross-armed the death of the humankind. The rivers and seas have been poisoned. We've been witnesses of deforestation. They have weakened and before the alteration of the water, the fresh water supplies. They have been altering the climate conditions. Every day, the waste that cannot be processed is turned into the grounds. Us that we're living in an imperial dictatorship, let's call into the union and to the struggle. We are commanded to fight against imperialism and open the path for the salvation of the human species. Tomorrow it will be too late to be doing what we should have done a long time ago, to protect the most marvelous creation of the nature, the human being, that cannot be disappearing.
Nosotros consideramos que este continente tiene en su vientre una criatura que se llama revolución, que viene
It's called revolution, that is common, and that without a doubt by a biological law, by a social law, by a historical law has to be born. And it will born one way or another, because Latin America is waking up. Latin America is rising. The countries of Latin America are getting from this century the biggest ways of making history.
Eso sencillamente
Simply
no tiene precio.
has no price tag. That's our spirituality, that's our legacy, and we are that's only owned by us. You women, that far right faces, it has no inspiration. It's only moved by hatred and the revenge desire and power desire. So that's the strength that we have, and from that strength that we have, I'm going to put the stand to the Evo Morales Aima. Well, thank you very much, Brother President Maduro, for the invitation. To Jorge, greetings to all of you. First of all, I'm convinced, Brother Maduro, that Fidel and Chavez are joining us in a spiritual way in this meeting. The most important is not forget the lessons that are being told to us. I was a deputy with Fidel and Chavez. I couldn't understand how Fidel said, Hugo, we will do this or that. Only one memory with miracle mission. We were in Havana, Hugo, we have to bring people with side issues, and we're going to operate them freely. In a moment, Fidel said to Hugo, in Latin America, we're going to be able to make eye surgery to 10,000 people. And I thought in that moment, this Fidel is crazy. 10,000 people with eye surgery for free, but when we got there with miracle mission with brothers and sisters from Venezuela, only in Bolivia they did eye surgery to more than 7,000 brothers and sisters from Bolivia. Brothers and sisters, in that time, Brother Maduro was saying that in April 19th, over more than 200 years, the first revolution wars were having been taken. But also, that time, the United States started to make politics. The Monroe Doctrine started. It was terrorism with Cold War. What did they want with Cold War? They didn't want a socialist tendency government and progressive governments to be, and less of all, anti-imperialism. And now we have two strong governments, Cuba and Venezuela, anti-imperialism governments, and we have a human tendency governments. The imperialism is in decay, and all this politics of American for the Americans, for Latin Americans, for the United States, it was a failure. That started in 1823, 1845. The manifest destination. The United States thinks that God sends them to get into the natural resources worldwide. Only we have to see in Bolivia or some countries in Latin America. We have already been trying to get back our natural resources. Another big failure of the politics of the imperialism. So the time passed, and now we have other politics. And we can only think that the United States has security, and from here we are listening to them speaking about worldwide security. It's a hard struggle that we have to face. This pretext of national security translate into coup d'etat, military interventions, and I only want to make a quick talk that the Bolivia hits are not accepting the native population, that the native population can lead a profound revolution, and they're not accepting that. Second of all, in my experience, the young people are not accepting that the neoliberalism economical model can be upfronted by other model. The recovery from our natural resources will be a long talk, but mainly the coup d'etat has been the blow, a hit to the lithium, to make an industry from the lithium. We started from scratch, and we are in the viewpoint. I'm sharing the words of our brother Joao Pedro. November 18th of 2022, Donald Trump said to the conservatives try to get together in Mexico. We have to stop, and I'm quoting, we are here and convinced, and I don't have no one to convince, but I have to convince who are doubting still from capitalism. So what said Donald Trump? And we need to stop the expansion of socialism and just not allow them to continue to get into the region and the land. and we need to reconstruct our economy to support our workers and our families. End of the quote. First, brothers and sisters, they say that the region is land of Donald Trump, and that's a lie. You can see that. I'm not lying. That was said in Mexico in a press conference in a conservative party. That's saying that we are their land. And I'm convinced myself that United States is not an economical potency anymore. Maybe it is with NATO, army, weapons potency. I want to improve development for the support of our workers and our family, because for Donald Trump, we are their workers and his family. July 2022, the Lydian Orb expansion. The commander of the South Command, Laura Richardson, declared in the Security Forum of Aspen, United States state of Colorado, that the United States citizens were really worried about the South subjects, but that the South is our neighborhood. From the commander of the South, Latin America is his own backyard and his own neighborhood. Speaking about lithium, February 4th, 2023, General Richardson again says, the natural resources are available for our needs. End of the quote. Again, and if those countries only can produce and give it to us, nothing happen to them. End of the quote. We can realize that the last declaration from Argentina to the commander, and speaking about lithium. So what is the asset of Venezuela? Copper, gold, and oil. Publicly, they say that. In what are you interested in Bolivia? Lithium. Our struggle, brothers and sisters, is greater. It's not a small issue. And sometimes I say we're there like in every country having issues for small things. And I want to let you know that the coup d'etat, the ones that are gaining the hits, were trying to get the native populations movement. The movement by heritage, the native populations by heritage are anti-colonialism, anti-imperialism. That was led us by those leaders from those times. Still some people are trying to get under those native movements, but we're going to defend our movements because that will be a recolonization. Because in 14 years we've been proven that Bolivia has a lot of hope and a lot of future. A lot of time we scream another world is possible, and we have been experienced that another Bolivia, it is possible to get united to defend our natural resources. Brothers and sisters, the goal, what's the goal then? Not only two countries liberated, Cuba and Venezuela, but from 15, 20 years, 5 countries consolidated anti-imperialism. We just thought they're going to be coup d'etat, they're going to be military bases, and we have to continue the freedom. There will be provocations. By example, the attack of Ecuador is not the Ecuadorian people, but the attack to Mexico, of Argentina to Venezuela, of Argentina to Bolivia. They're trying to win by dividing Latin America. In my experience, they're trying to divide us, to conquer us, is to rob our natural resources, and that's the struggle, not only in Latin America, but everywhere. Brothers and sisters, a lot of unity, a lot of experience. It takes a lot of work to unite, but for some, there's more harder to divide. But I have a lot of hope in countries consolidated as an anti-imperialist like Cuba and Venezuela, with the socialist characters and pro-humankind character. We're going well. I know what the transnational and the world elite is thinking. To take care of the nature, they want to reduce the market, but they also want to reduce the population. When I was a president, I read a report from the International Monetary Fund that said that in the politics of the new world order, they were trying to reduce the unnecessary population. Which is the unnecessary population? The poor people. And they were trying to make a program to reduce the population. And those politics of the capitalism are they're compelling us to unite us. That experience, my experience from social struggle, from the field, from the street, from rural areas, from the mobilization, it is possible to change, starting from Latin America to the entire world. So, comrade, that professional, intellectual, all of you, for the life and for the humankind, thank you very much. And from the north as well, great chief, son of Tupac Katari. Thank you very much, Evo. His wisdom, the ancestry wisdom of ours, that the colonialism tried to take away from us, because we are sons and daughters of the greatest ancestry, but we also lived the unlimited from the European colonialism and the whole continent. And now we are healing the wounds of this, and we are rescuing the simpler values, the humble values, the human values, and simpler ones. The honesty, to not lie, not to steal, and not to be lazy. That's the toughest one. So who's fighting with more with the third one? You can raise your hands. There's no lazy people here. Only warriors here. Speaking about warriors, from the land of Francisco Morazan, also rescuing his history, a man that wanted and joined in life deeply to our commander, Hugo Rafael Chavez Frias, and it was in the first spring of our continent. We were remembering that last night in a dinner that we were sharing, and we were remembered these very important moments that are still alive. A coup d'etat was made upon him. It was getting killed, and God put his hand, and his house was looted, and he was tossing out in pajamas, and no explanation was presented to him, and he got into a plane, grounded in San Jose in Costa Rica, opened the door, tossing into the floor. From there, it was in recovery, he made his first press conference, and faster than a blink, a plane from the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela went there and rescued them and took it to the free Managua, to Sandinas, Nicaragua. Let's not forget that 12 years happened. Coup d'etat, two frauds, repression, prosecution, and the Honduras people came back with you, Mel Zelaya. Thank you, President. Laborer, leader, Latin American and worldwide leader, Nicolás Maduro. Last night, the document was passed to me of the social worldwide alternative. It was sent to me by Nicolás. And I said, who did this document? Jorge Arreaza. An applause for Jorge Arreaza, please. I understand that it's a collective effort, and that document is from all of you, international and national, but it is not nothing else that the process of the path for the construction of the socialist character of the revolution from all Latin America. Thus, this is document, a process that identified us and unite us in the base. The peoples are mobilized. All of them a lot of them in social network are being mobilized. The imperialism is there. We don't have to unknow the permanent presence of the enemy in front of any action that is taken. And now with new ways, the conspiracy, the permanent conspiracies, the assassination attempts, the programmed convulsion of groups that are going into destabilize our countries. The enemy and the treason prevail in the coup d'etat. Let's see what's happened now in the Gaza Strip. Let's see the cruel bombardment, faces cruel bombardment against children and women and elder population, against the civilian population of Palestine in the Gaza Strip. We are in solidarity with the Gaza Strip. We are in solidarity with these brave people that are fighting to have a state. There is the presence of an imperial war in Gaza. There's no doubt. There's no doubt either that the ones who are here today, we are anti-colonialism and also anti-imperialism, and no one here is speaking in other terms. And now, President, that you have been telling so adventurous, it's so in an adventurous way, actions at the time of the struggle and the fighting to reverse the coup d'etat, I'm going to allow myself also to give some qualifications first. Let's see, it's true. We've been practicing by our own genetics from descendants of Morazán and Bolivar and descendants of Martí, the bravery as an exercise of our people. But I can say, President Maduro, I don't know one leader in my presence, living in his own flesh, so brave, so compromised, so decided to the sacrifice for people to get the peoples out of the oppression, decisive, patriotic, socialist, and democratic as Nicolás Maduro. I don't know. I haven't met another one. It is true that I was going. It is true that I was going in the front of it, but really Nicolas was decided, and I said, let's go in. And there's a blow, military blow directed by the imperialism in Honduras, and he was decided to go, and he said, I will join you after he knew where we were going. The one who saved the situation was Chavez, because from teleSUR they spoke to Chavez, and they saw that Nicolás was in the front of the car, and Chavez called me and he said, Zelaya, where is Nicolás? And I said, I'm in front of the border, only 200, 300 meters from the division, full of soldiers and snipers. And Nicolás? He asked. And I say, next to me. And he said, hey, no, he's going to get killed. He's going to be there in the front, in that vanguard. Nicolás, please, you cannot go there. Nicolás, you have to rectify. Nicolás, this struggle is going to compromise us in a war of extra-regional limits. And Nicolás said, President, we were like only 100 meters with the weapons pointing at us, and red lights were upon our heads already. And that's Nicolás Maduro. That's why I'm here. I have no doubt that the descendant of Chavez and Fidel. Do you remember their own eternal commander, Rafael Chavez Frias, told us, said, go there with Fidel and go speak with him. 4 days after the coup d'etat. Nicolás, at the time, he was a chancellor for Latin America, and we went to Fidel. And do you know what Fidel said, opposite to the ones that want to put ground on the image of Fidel? He said, Zelaya, yes, if the imperialism and the golpist sector of Honduras allow you to come back to Honduras again, look, you can found a party, create a party, deeply revolutionary, socialist and democratic, but in peace. And the 21st century is a mistake to face the war technology, the weapons technology. So found that, create that party. And he had something. You can see the wisdom of this giant through this. He said, it is possible that because of your age, maybe you're not going to be allowed to see that victory. And happened 12 years and 17 months. And a woman led with bravery, with decision, the words, the prophetic words of Fidel Castro. Xiomara Castro today is the president of the Republic, president of the CELAC, president of SICA, president of the tropical forest countries, first woman to be a president in the street with the Honduras resistance, following the example of our heroes and martyrs. She led the struggle that today that the Honduran people emancipated, fighting for the freedom against our common enemies. And we have not stand there. But here we are, 3 presidents and 2 ex-presidents. Survivors. Chavez and Nicolas are survivors from a coup d'etat that was only 48 hours, with the strength of the people of Venezuela and the Venezuelan armed forces. The coup d'etat was reverted. Evo Morales, 2 years happened, and the coup d'etat was reversed. And in Honduras, 1 year? In Honduras, 12 years and 7 months. And you know what Fidel told me? Maybe you don't want to see it for your age, but I see the change of structures in Latin America and Honduras. Thank you to the Almighty. Thanks to God. Thank you. Today, also here in Venezuela, also is the Socialist Party in Venezuela, Revolutionary, Democratic, Pacific, Socialist United of Venezuela, that is carrying today a candidate, a brave candidate to the presidency of the Republic. And on July 28th of 2024, it will obtain another victory like in Honduras, in Venezuela. Nothing can stop to the decisive advance of the people of our Latin America. I don't want to end my words without asking the solidarity to the brother that is being in prison in Ecuador, Jorge Glass. Our solidarity until the victory will conquer. I agree with Zelaya. He was only missing a detail. President Xiomara is president of Honduras, president of Latin America and the Caribbean, because she's a CELAC president. She's president of the integration system of Latin America, SICA. She's president of the protector system for the forest. But she's also the president of your heart, Zelaya. The first combatant of Honduras, Mel Zelaya. The one that is in handcuffs, he says. The first fighter of Honduras. Or am I lying? The first. And he fights a lot. Because a deployed man, he never went to the back. He will never surrender. He was always on the front, and I'm aware of that. Every second, all the things that we did, the Honduras people break a record. Honduras people was more than 300 days being mobilized every single day by thousands in the streets against the Micheletti dictatorship. It broke every set, and the political and social strength, who was deceived by 2 times and triumphed and led Xiomara to the power. It was a force that was born from a very good, important mass movement, and he went through the test, because the thing is not because it's not that simple.
Aquí la cosa no es coser y
The
cantar
thing is not that simple,
o soplar y hacer botella,
or it's not that simple at all.
que es difícil. Yo he visto
It's really hard.
a los sopladores de vidrio y es un ejercicio difícil, es un arte.
It's not to blow in bottles, because
Cualquier cosa.
it's not easy to blow and make bottles. So I don't have idea what do we have this quote of blow and make bottles. Do you think that is
La lucha es difícil.
this is to blow and make bottles? That's used for saying that something is easy, but this is a complex struggle. In Alba, Commander Francisco Javier Arias Cárdenas, by then the President of the Republic, he was working with me as a chancellor. In 1 second, Commander Hugo Chavez said, send to rescue Celaya because he can be killed there. A
Recibió a Celaya.
far-right person was ruling there.
Retírate, olvídate de eso. La derecha coordinada.
The far-right was coordinated
de Costa Rica. Eso lo puedo
to
decir yo, no él. Y él se sorprendió.
He was surprised when, ending the press conference, he was still
Emocionado,
in shock
turuleto por el golpe,
by the blow.
vio entrar por
He
una
saw
puerta a Francisco
entering
Cárdenas.
from a door to Francisco Javier Arias Cárdenas.
Aterrizaron.
They didn't want to let him land, and they didn't want to let him in the place where Celaya was. And he said, Presidente de Alba has come to rescue you. You're coming with me, and you're going to Managua. And to Managua they got, and from Managua arrived a message from Daniel Ortega and Rosario. Comrade Minister, please. Good afternoon, comrades.
Compañeros dignos y dignatarios. Está presente, compañeros todos.
Comrade old.
Saludos de Nicaragua, bendito,
Greeting from Nicaragua,
siempre soberana.
blessed and always sovereign and free.
El gobierno de reconciliación y
The
unidad nacional de
Reconciliation and Unity Government of Nicaragua, the Sandinist Front of Liberation, we greet in a special way this encounter for an alternative social in the worldwide that took place in Venezuela in the 214th anniversary of the Venezuelan Freedom Proclamation. We think the possibility of being here in battles and victory, united as usual, in battles that are already won, to proclaim and demand justice, rights, peace with dignity and freedom for all our people that are brave and strong. To the comrade Nicolás Maduro Moros, constitutional president of Venezuela, to the comrades of United Socialist Party of Venezuela, our hug to the battles of daily basis, walking together as it should be, proud and happy to share with so many leaders from a lot of different heroic and noble countries. We reaffirm that always beyond the path of our heroes and marches, and always together with our eternal commander Hugo Chavez, with Fidel, with Bolivar, with Sandino, with Martí, with Daniel and Nicolas, that have been saying, united we can conquer and we will conquer. Enormous hug with all respect and love. Managua, April 19th of 2024. Today, Peace Day in Nicaragua. It was signed by our President Daniel Ortega Saavedra and our Vice President Rosario Murillo. Long live Nicaragua.
Nicaragua, Nicaragüita, la flor más linda
The
de su vergel.
prettiest flower of the garden.
Gracias, Daniel.
Nicaragua.
Gracias.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you. I will wait for you, Daniel, soon.
Gracias a Rosario.
Thank you, Rosario, as
Gracias a
well.
todos y a todas. Al Frente Sandinista
Thank
de
you to
Liberación
all of
Nacional.
you, to Sandinist freedom, liberation freedom, We are from the Sandinist movement. We are from the Morazan movement. We are from the Tupac Qatar movement. We are Bolivarians. Martians from San Martin forces. We are from Latin America. We are pro-Palestine, Christians, and deeply Chavist. I want to congratulate to the organizers of this event, all the participants. There were a lot of socialist movements of the world that wanted to come. Now we have big challenges in front of us, comrades. We have to think big. We have to act big. Let's re-articulate all the strength, social strength of the world, all of them, without divisions, with a wide criteria. I always use remember a quote from the Vietnamese people that I learned when I was a kid. I believe that it was in 1978. Reading a document of the victorious people of Vietnam already. What it was the strategy and the plan from Nguyen Tram Triap, left by Ho Chi Minh. And it had a quote that it carved to me, and I was only 16 or 15 years old. I was there in the half. I was in the revolutionary movement from the left, from the political movement, from the break political movement, and the quote was simple and a very strong, because it was carrying in itself the concept that led to the victory to the Ho Chi Minh's Vietnam. The quote was, unite all that can be united against the main enemy. Unite all the nation, all the worldwide solidarity. And Vietnam did that. Where were the socialist greatest movement with Vietnam? In New York, Washington, Chicago, Atlanta, Boston, Philadelphia, Baltimore, California, in the United States of North America, in Madrid, London, Paris, worldwide in general. They conquered, beside of the campaign of demonization, the evil campaign, the Vietnam got through the worldwide solidarity, as powerful as the solidarity that has been rising for Palestine. Every toll or measure, a solidarity that is getting more than 70% with the Palestinian people, a rejection that goes more than 70% of the genocide. The elections of the United States in November, in a good part, are going to be decided by the conflict, by the genocide of Netanyahu against Palestine. And you will remember that. So let's have a wide and big vision. The time has come from the social movement of the ALBA, with a wide vision to articulate a new alternative, social alternative entire world against imperialism and then against the capitalism, working to get a human civilization of love and peace, of hope and life, of a multipolar world from the people. because only are the people, the conscious peoples, mobilized and organized, empowered, the ones who can build a new world. This is not an elite subject, an elite from here, an elite from there, and we learned that pretty well. Here in Venezuela, we were saying, no, Chavez is a mercenary. Chavez is going to be done when he's gone. This is going to be done. But it's a false. We don't need to prove it further. As Zelaya says, Chavez lives today more than ever. And after they started, Maduro cannot do it because he's not wise, he's dumb. You can see it in his looks. It's dummy. And I say that because Celia is not here present. She doesn't like when I say those stuff. They say that I was dumb. If this is repeated, please don't tell her. And with modesty, I've been doing what I do have to do, and I will continue to do that. But it's not Maduro either. No one can believe that a man only he can. No. It is a people. Yo, Pedro. The entire people. I know that is a word. You that are the Lenin of Brazil. Yo, Pedro is like sort of a Lenin. Is a Lenin reincarnation in Brazil. He doesn't like me to say this kind of stuff. Lenin reincarnate in the social movement of Brazil. Enjoy, Pedro. I do believe in reincarnation. It's not a man, comrades. Are the values that are sown in the people. Is have faith in the people. Is to educate the people from the ground. Is to activate the fighters in a permanent way. Is to create in the spiritual force and the identity in the roots. Is to crop today to be able to renew one and again, to renew the species in the public politics, is to learn how to listen to criticism face to face and face the criticism and welcome the criticism, to self-criticize you, to sow hope, not to harm ourselves. The criticism cannot be to auto-destroy us. It must be done to learn, to move forward. We have been facing the permanent conspiracy of the imperialism. Last year, we de-articulate 5 attempts, 2 directly to murder me. You don't know that in the rest of the world, because the wires from the media are clowning it. In the same time that we were talking and negotiating with the United States people in Qatar, we found ourselves with attempts prepared by them, by the United States, from Colombia, and the secret base of the CIA and the FBI and the DEA. 3 of them were operating from Colombia. We have the proof. We have the prisoners. We have the prisoners with confession, all of it. But our data is being silenced. This year we have proof 4 conspiracies. 4 weeks ago, in a visit that I did to the west of the country, Maturin, we find out two people, one leader of the fascist movement, a psychopath, and that's not said by me, that's said by the medical staff, and a sergeant from the sector that was planning to use a machine gun against the convoy that I was going to be in. And I found that when arriving, but I say I'm going, I will not be out of the street. The people will take care of me. And I learned that from Fidel and Chavez. Captured and imprisoned, and with the confession, they prepare an attempt. Who did the money? Who was ordering that? Did you know the rest of the world anything of that? Those are the proof there. On March 25th that I inscribed myself in the presidential candidacy, two gun fighters were captured, disturbed people. They confess completely his crimes. They say who prepared it, who was given the orders, the logistics, the money. They're in prison and with a confession. And the intellectual author is also captured. They were captured only 20 meters of the stand where I was going to be. And they confess that they were given the order to shoot and to wound people, to make the highlight of a military encountering against the people. And I have the conviction, even when they didn't confess it, that they were going to shoot me. Who's behind that? The fascism from Venezuela. Supported by who? By the United States of North America. That's the truth. The truth. So we cannot go under in this. Our people in this 11 years, and I do believe like that, our people has been better organized. It's a values people, it's a empowered people. And if someone owns the victory in all these scenarios that we have to face, if someone's owned the resistance and the victory against the blockade, the sanctions, the conspiracies, and all what the imperialism have done is only owned by the people of Venezuela, noble, mobilized, conscious, empowered, and organized. The warranty of the future has to be our people with their own program, their own projects, being every single time more conscious, and that we can fulfill the code of Vietnam to unite everything that can be united for the future, for the happiness, and for the warranty of the socialist construction in Venezuela and in a socialist alternative, new and empowered in the rest of the world. Our coming new steps, right? We're going to work. I've been told by the General Secretary, Jorge Arriaza, that we're going to get towards the December summit. In December, we are celebrating 30 years of the first encounter among the two giants, Fidel and Chavez. December 14, 2024, this encounter of 1994, we're going to celebrate that. And on December 14, we're going to be celebrating Also,
los 20 años
the 20
de la
years
fundación
of
de
the
la
foundation
alternativa
of the
bolivariana
Bolivarian alternative for the countries
Alianza
of
Bolivariana.
our America today, Bolivarian
La
Alliance.
historia
The history
nos ha dado la razón.
is given to us
La
the
profecía lo que se ha hecho es cumplir.
reason.
Hoy el ALBA
The prophecy has fulfilled. Today, Alba, Evo Zelaya, comrades, today Alba is consolidating himself.
es una
Today,
referencia
Alba
moral,
is a
política,
reference in a
programática.
moral
Hoy el ALBA
program
es una
way.
referencia para los pueblos que luchan, que
It's a
sueñan.
reference from the people that are
El
struggling
África
and
ya se
dream.
levanta otra vez
Africa is rising again
en su lucha contra
in
el
its struggle
colonialismo
against the
europeo.
colonialism from
El
Europe.
Asia se convierte en
Asia is
alternativa.
turning into an
Nuestra
alternative.
América
Our America is
por mantener
fighting
sus
to
espacios
maintain their
liberados y por
spaces
liberar
and
nuevos
freedom
espacios.
and to free more
Como lo dijera
spaces,
Ernesto Che
like
Guevara en aquel discurso
Che will say
histórico.
in this historical
Ya los pueblos
speech.
del mundo
The
han dicho
countries
basta y han
of
echado
the
a andar.
world said
Podemos
stop
decir
and
con el
starting
ALBA,
to move
esos pueblos del
on.
mundo que han
And we can
echado a
say
andar,
that with the ALBA, those
consolidaremos
people that are trying to
una
move
nueva
on,
y
we
poderosa
consolidate a
alianza
new
social
and
mundial. Los
powerful
felicito,
social
compañeros.
worldwide alliance. And
Las felicito, compañeras.
congratulations,
Unamos
comrades.
todo lo que pueda ser
Unite,
unido
let's unite
por una
everything that can be
alternativa social
united
mundial.
for a social
Hasta
worldwide
la victoria
alternative.
siempre.
We will conquer the victory always.
Victory forever. Que suene el tambor. Gracias, camarada. Gracias. Siempre bienvenidos a Venezuela.
Despierta si estás dormido, mi Juan. Despierta si estás dormido. Despierta si estás dormido. De ese sueño tan profundo.
Ay, je, María, tiende tu pañuelo, mi negra. Ay, María, tiéndelo en el suelo.
We are live to Caracas, Venezuela, to the World Gathering for a Social Alternative, a two-day event organized by the Bolivarian Alliance for the Peoples of Our America People's Trade Treaty, ALBA-TCP, and the Simón Bolívar Institute. In the presence of political leaders of the region and the world, President Nicolás Maduro assured that Venezuela and Latin America is on the path of a new era. The peoples of the Americas are raising their voices against imperialism, he said. Let's highlight that former Bolivian President Evo Morales and former Honduran President Manuel Zelaya are among the guests of the international event. This is all for the moment. More updates in upcoming news briefs. Stay tuned.